All right, so we're working in the shop today. Sorry, I got the furnace on. It's pretty cold outside. This is our personal car. It's a 1998 Honda CRV. It's a great little rig. You see them all over the place. And we've had a family ski outing planned last weekend and had kind of a problem with it, a very unusual problem. And I'm going to go through what I found and what's going on. So it's a 2-liter engine with a 5-speed transmission manual, and it made it 3.5 hours to our ski destination just fine. Sat overnight, started it up in the morning, and it started puking oil. You can see there, right from this area right here, which I believe is the front crank area, like the timing cover seal behind the harmonic balancer. I thought that's weird. Never happened. It's been a great car. But I noticed, if you look here at this PVC hose, it's completely kinked. And I'm wondering if pressure built up in the crankcase and popped the seal. It did get really cold that one night after our drive. Got up in the morning to go skiing to the mountain, and that's when it started leaking. Luckily, we limped it home. I put in 4 quarts of oil to make it home. So it's leaking about 1 quart of oil every 75 miles, which is terrible for the environment. But I'm really curious to know what had happened. So I've just started pulling this apart, and I thought, well, I'm gonna do a little video blog here and see what's going on. So that's the first thing that I've noticed, is that this PVC line, car's got 200,000 miles on it, maybe got hot during the trip and collapsed, because there's no air or vacuum that can flow through that. However, there is another breather line here, so I don't know. The engine has no other oil leaks, hasn't had any oil leaks, but all of a sudden it just started puking out oil. So I'm going to rip off the valve cover, rip off the timing belt, see if the crank seal, the front crank seal popped out or what happened. I'm really intrigued. Glad I made it home. Okay. All right, I got the furnace on, so you might not be able to hear me so well, but I want to give you a little progress report working on the CRV. And every CRV, so the 1998 CRV, our personal one, the 2-liter engine that I've ever run across, has tight valves, and sure enough, ours does as well. I haven't checked them in a while, but this is your exhaust cam right here. You can see the exhaust manifold, the exhaust cam. I'm just taking an 8 thousandths feeler gauge, and I'm running it between the base of the cam lobe and the little bucket, and if it goes tight like it does right there, perfect. But if you can't get an 8 in there, then you got to loosen it up, and you simply just loosen this lock nut and rotate this screw lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So this is the exhaust cam. All the valve adjustments on this cam should be 8 thousandths. Intake cam, 6 thousandths. Have your 2 8 thousandths and your 6 thousandths feeler gauges at the ready. All right, let's carry on. All right, so we're deep in the throes of working on our CRV massive oil leak project, and I think I got it figured out. So you can see I got the timing, my light there, timing belt exposed. Timing belt isn't that bad, but it's pretty oil soaked, so I'm going to replace it. But I did find a couple of interesting things. I'll show you. So this is the timing area. I'm laying underneath the car, and you can see it's completely wet around that area. So it is the front crankshaft seal has gone bad, and I've already popped it out. I've got this cool little tool here that's it won't scratch the shaft, so you can kind of, it's got a flat end, you sneak it between the shaft and the seal, and you can use this little guy here as leverage and then adjust this to pop it out. I didn't have to do that. I basically just hooked it and gave it a little tug, and this is the hardened crankshaft seal. It completely just popped out. It's hard as a rock. This is the new one here. And I don't know if you can see the difference, but I can't even see the spring tension on the back of the old one. The new one, you can see the spring right in there. It just looks so much better. So that's one issue. The other issue is the timing cover itself. You can see something's been machining this area. and I suspect it's this. I think the rubber damper, or this is the harmonic balancer, and the rubber isolator that isolates the belt portion from the hub has come loose. I did notice this was a little wobbly one day, and the next day it was fine. So I'm going to replace the balancer. I don't want it sawing into here. It's sawed into here a little bit, and also here. So I don't know. Can't really explain that, but I'm going to replace that. Hopefully that'll take care of that. And then there was one other thing. Oh yeah, this mount right here. So this is a 5-speed car. A lot of off and on the throttle because it's a 5-speed, and you can see the webbing of that motor mount is broken, so that's going to get replaced. So while I'm in here, I'm going to replace the cam seals as well. They're on top, and I'll show you how I use the tool when I get to that point. But both of these two cam seals are equally as old as the crankshaft seal, although the crankshaft seal spins twice as fast as the cam. So these are going to go as well. I'm going to replace those. So there we are. All right, so we're a little further along on our CRV project of the day. As you can see what I got going on here. I told you I was going to use this tool here, this special new little clamp or puller, seal puller that I have that works really slick without scratching the shaft. I didn't use that, unfortunately. On the camshaft seals, I was able to just take these bolts off the top of these two bolts here off top of the cam bearings, and I just popped the seals right out. A little further along, you can see my contraption here holding the timing belt. I've got a bungee cord holding the wrench. The exhaust cam tends to turn when you're putting the timing belt on, and it's got to be exactly on. You can see my marks there. So I've rigged that up, and I call these my little lady fingers. They're long needle nose vice grips, and I've got the cam timing perfect, exactly the way I want it. Sometimes you have to improvise. I'm really glad that I replaced those camshaft seals. They are just hard as a rock, just like the crankshaft seal was. So this is my special piece of PVC pipe that I use to install the seals by knocking them in. Does a really great job. And we're going to continue on our CRV project. Hopefully you're learning something. Okay, so we're finishing up on our CRV project for today. To kind of recap, this is our personal vehicle. It's been pretty reliable. Took it skiing with the wife and kids. Past weekend, drove 3.5 hours. Everything was fine. Parked outside at our friend's house, spent the night. The next morning, on the way to Bachelor ski area, up a big hill, popped an oil seal, and I wasn't sure if it was due to the extreme cold temperatures or the PVC line that was kinked from just being old. I put a new one on here, and creating that PVC line, if they get kinked, sometimes they can create crankcase pressure that may have blew the seal out. I got the seals here in my hand, both cam seals and the crankshaft front seal, rock hard. I'm pretty sure it was just time. The car's got 199,000 miles on it, just about ready to turn 200. So it's probably time. And let's see, what else did we do here today? So we got the front crank seal replaced. We got both camshaft seals replaced. All the belts replaced. Timing belt, accessory belts, the harmonic balancer, the valves adjusted, new valve cover gasket, new valve cover grommets, new valve spark plug well tubes. This plug right here, there's a plastic plug with an O-ring. I noticed it was weeping a little bit. Replaced that. There was a couple coolant hoses here that were kind of soft and gummy. Because that was leaking, I thought, I should probably take care of those too. So I put some coolant in it, just topped it up, checked the oil, it's fine, hooked the battery back up. I'm still waiting on this motor mount here that's broken. Oh, actually, you know what? It came in, I forgot. It's the craziest thing. I don't know what kind of motor mount this is. Look at this thing wobble around. What kind of motor mount? Mine's all split, but this one doesn't seem that much better, but I guess that's the way it's supposed to be. It must do something. Anyhow, it shouldn't take long to pop this in. So that's in, so let's fire it up and check for leaks. Oh, I got my exhaust tube out the back here, so that the exhaust goes right toward the dog sitting in the doorway. Yeah, it's fired up. Keys beeping, that's always a good sign. Push the clutch in. Yay, fired up. How about that? It's nice and quiet. All the warning lights are off. Let's go listen to it. Oh, fuck. Sounds pretty good. Feels like a kitten. Doesn't seem to be wobbling. Had trouble with that wobbling before. It's okay. Well, I'll let it run here for a while. I'm going to clean up the bottom of the engine, clean up this tray, take it for a drive. Then I might wash and detail the engine compartment. It really needs it. So that should do it. That brings us to the end of the CRV service day here at the shop. This thing is going to live on to go skiing once again. Hopefully it doesn't leak any oil. That's a bummer. So, all right, here we go. Thanks for watching.